good evening, and welcome to another reading of Helkey, my ongoing climate fantasy series, in which mages and angels engage in a secret war to throw off the environmental and spiritual tyranny that is hell. For this episode, we have quite a treat for you tonight as we begin the Battle of Sunken Crag, which is a large portion of the first book of Helkey, which is called Into Infernia. I am just completing right now chapter 34, which is the final chapter in the Battle of Sunken Crag. By itself, that chapter is about 26 pages long, and I think the entire Sunken Crag series probably composes about 35,000 to 40,000 words, or roughly 130 pages. So pretty serious events going. Let me set the stage for you. In the most recent episode, in which we were in Myra's point of view, and Myra is the main character of this story, Myra and her companions, Zaya the Vila, which is like a hell fairy, Zell and Theri, who are blue devils, they're rebels among the slave class of devils who have joined with her in beginning to face off against the forces of Overseer Tower. And last of all, her companion Mottle, which is also a model, which is like a kind of a bat and a cloaker from Dungeons and Dragons, mixed together in this wonderful creature that helps Myra survive the awful environment of hell that she has been thrust into through this adventure. So in the last episodes, Myra, Mottle, Zaya, Theri, and Zell, they ambushed a gigantic hell machine called a scorpion and destroyed it, slew the devils, and freed the wisps that the scorpion was harvesting from the wisp fields in hell. And wisps are essentially souls. And they freed these wisps. They made their way into the Razor Hills and came to a place called the Cave of Changing, in which both Myra and Zaya merged their magic to grant these souls in hell forms. And the forms they gave them were gifted to them by this hell fairy, the Vila. Ancient forms that over time evolved to become predators of the current devils that rule hell, the red devils, particularly under Asmodeus. And these forms, these shapes that were given, include Urdrakes, which are like giant turtle lizard creatures. They look a lot like miniature Godzillas with crystalline ridges that run down their backs. Other models, other creatures like Mottle, which I just described to you, these cloak-like bat creatures. And these glorious Plumacats, these imagine like a feathered cat that's like a mashup between a tiger, a black tiger, and a velociraptor. But instead of fur, with these these feathers that run off their form. So now Myra is in the Cave of Changing, or just getting out of the Cave of Changing, with all of these new companions that she and her Vila friend Zaya have made together with their magic. And now they are planning to use these newly freed souls, these souls that are formed into these fighting forms against devils, to assault the horrible slaver forces, the devil slaver forces of Overseer Tower. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of a map of the region of Overseer Tower. So we were looking at a close-up view of the Cave of Changing, which on this map now is down here. And I hope you can see it. I hope my talking head isn't covering it up. Here is Overseer Tower on the upper left-hand portion of the map. And surrounding it all, Knife Lake, the Wisp Fields, and this region of Eastern Infernia that sets the stage for the Battle of Sunken Crag, a strategic location here, just southeast of Overseer Tower, north and west of the Cave of Changing, and south and west of Knife Lake, which runs through it all. So having set the stage for you, I will go ahead and read for you Helkey 29, the Battle of Sunken Crag. Now, if you are watching with me on Twitch and you've dropped into chat, please be patient if you would want me to chat with you, as I will at the end of this stream. If you have any questions or would like to share any comments with me. So without further ado, I will read for you Helkey 29, Battle of Sunken Crag, a Devil's Dance. The blocky digital letters of my magical horologium watch tell me it's 3:13 a.m. hell time. I'm wide awake, sure. I'm hot as hell. Sweat's running off me like a waterfall. Legs sore from all the goddamn walking, running, flying, landing. Yeah, landings are the worst. Eyes burning with all the sulfur crud in the air. Lungs feel like I've smoked about 1,000 packs of cigarettes. Tongue tastes like fucking rotten eggs. Yep, they've managed to devil my damn tongue like an egg. I've been here all of fucking 35 hours. I look over toward our motley company, the ninja devil turtle Godzilla things called Urdrakes stare back at me with their glossy, unblinking lizard eyes. It's weird and cute at the same time. Not cuddly cute, but lizard, turtle, Godzilla cute. Hey, I'm into Godzilla, okay? Deal. Beside the Urdrakes are a floppy-hoppy arrangement of Mottles. A bunch of them are now hanging on the wall. Great, an army of tapestry bats. Original Mottle is in a pileup of them. They're doing the touch telepathy thing. Feathered Plumacats prowl around the cave. One brushes by, its feathers soft and prickly on my neck. Zaya, the green-skinned Vila, is in a ball beside me. Her soft breathing would normally lull me. I'm too jumped up for that. Probably adrenaline plus the fear. Definitely the fear. I turn to Zell and Theri. We should move again. My eyes land on Zell. He shrugs. Worried? He asks. Damn straight I'm worried. We just hit one of Overseer Tower's giant scorpions hard. The magic and destruction we unleashed, visible for miles around, lit up the goddamn hell sky. Then we freed a boatload of their captive wisps. If there's one thing devils take goddamn serious, it's the souls they've trapped and subjugated. I try to compose myself. Look, if they don't know what's happened by now, that we hit one of their scorpions, they're fools. I'm guessing whoever's in charge up there in Overseer didn't get there by being a fool, so we need to keep moving. Theri puts her rough, clawed hand over mine. It's weird and comforting at the same time. You got us this far. What do you have in mind? Yeah, I got everyone in some deep shit, all right. I take a breath, then jostle Zaya. She slowly rises, rubbing her eyes. You're gonna want to be awake for this, I say to her. I motion to Mottle, Zorfang, and Featherstar. Over here, we've got to talk. Mottle shuffles out of his pile. Zorfang is already standing nearby. He leans closer. Lux from Omnis Scientia shines through the crystals, ridging his back, casting little rainbows. My magical sensors hovering over my left shoulder. The amount of magic it takes barely means a thing to me now. The wisps sheltering in my name curse and shadow are pumping out a torrent of energy for my curses. Featherstar leaps up onto a boulder, then looks down at us imperiously. Definitely a cat. Right. So we need to get moving, and since Overseer's our objective, there's no reason we shouldn't head that way. They won't expect a force as large as ours, hopefully. We can use that to our advantage, especially if we take a good position. I turn to Zaya, Zell, and Theri. So what do you know about the land here? Any strategic points where we might gain an advantage? Zell and Theri exchange a look. There's Sunken Crag, Zell replies. Theri nods. It's a deep canyon running between these hills and Knife Lake, filled with nasty scrabbers and stellamol. The wisp slavers in Overseer avoid its depths. One large bridge crosses it. The bridge has 4 watchtowers, each with a guard of about 10. Scrabbers, I ask. I know about stellamol. That was Bob. Remember Bob? Yeah, that guy. He's still with me here in my shadow, chilling with all the other 102 villains. Scrabbers are giant spider crab devils. The form makers often turn wisps into them in this area, Zell replies. Deadly, vicious, mean. I think I might have glimpsed a Scrabber earlier tonight. What I saw looked damn nasty. I liked what I was hearing. Okay, I've got a sort of plan. Better than no plan at all. We head for Sunken Crag. As we do, we send scouts to figure out if Overseers sent a force to hunt us down. My bet is it has. We need to know where it is. I turn to Featherstar. You seem friendly with the Mottle Zephyr. Can you find about 6 others who are willing to team up with a Mottle? Featherstar licks her hand. Long tongue lolls out. She then uses the back of her hand to clean behind an ear. Looking down at me, she finally replies, Yes, I know 6 who will take a Mottle. What do you have in mind, Father? You're already quick. I've seen you bounding across the cavern. Teamed with a Mottle, you can fly for short distances. Plus, the Mottles will help you hide. I want you to scout out towards Sunken Crag and Overseer Tower. If there's a force coming at us, I want you to find them, then report back. Don't get into any fights unless you must. This is a scouting mission. Clue? Yes. Featherstar purrs. A stalking mission. That's not what I said, but it'll do. I've got Omniscientia, which should help me get a wide view of the surrounding land. But that's like having just one lookout on a high point. We needed to make sure we saw any devil force first. Then we could get ourselves into a better position. Plus, the bastards are bound to have their own scouts. We'd have to avoid those, which brought me to my next aim. I turned back to Theri and Zell. So can you tell me what kind of eyes and ears these devils have? We need to deal with those. All sorts, Theri says. Psychic red devils with a wide range in senses. Forces riding rapid one-wheeled machines called vortexes. Horned flying snakes with the ability to teleport short distances called Uktina. Also, a Hell Lord can sense a mage wisp like a shark can sense a drop of blood in the water. Great. That made things tricky. It also provided opportunities. I turned to Mottle. I'll need all the remaining Mottles but you to spread out in pairs of 2 around our force. I want them to hunt down any of those flying snakes that come close. Small groups of 4 or less vortex riders too. If more than 4 show up, send a flyer back to me. Break up into groups of 3. Don't attack unless you have surprise, and double the enemy's numbers. Mottle slaps his tail on my arm. I can feel him quivering in excitement and fear. Yes, he sends to me. This is really happening. All right, everyone, get ready. I want to be out of here in 10 minutes. Overseer Lavros rides into the Hell's Night, a toothy grin on his face, his dark orb bulging with tortured wisp energy. A rifle and a night axe are slung across his broad back. The vortex beneath him eats up ground. The fast, lethal vehicle sends a thrill through him as its single spiked wheel digs up furrows, a stinking cloud of exhaust and a hail of dirt clods trailing along behind. 7 lances of vortex riders form around his 4 scorpions and command center. In each lance are 10 red devils, true fiends driven by lust for profit, willing to do the hard, necessary work. The motley cavalcade is in high spirits. They clatter weapons against the flanks of their vortexes, shout profanities, gun their engines till the entrapped wisps howl in torment. Lavros's grin widens at their enthusiasm. It's been long ages since he last hunted a mage. Many of these devils have never seen a mage hunt. Now they're part of the myth. Lavros lets them have their frolic. An 8th lance, led by a lieutenant, the overseer, and former hunter Amagash, runs out ahead. Amagash is already beyond sight, but Lavros is certain the scouts share in his sentry's enthusiasm. Amagash will scout the lands around the destroyed scorpion, then return with his report. If all goes well, Lavros will run down the attackers tonight. Lavros scratches his horn in impatience, glancing at the slow-moving scorpions. His toothy grin fades back into a cavernous mouth. These lumbering machine beasts tower above his sentry. He doubts he'll need their massive claws, bristling gun platforms, and devastation tails capable of harvesting wisps and turning their raw energy into terrible force. They're slowing him down, yet Lavros is loath to part with the security their presence provides. If it's only a mage with a handful of rebels or undesirables, then Amagash will make quick work. The young devil will then try to claim most of the reward. Amagash had already tried overshadowing him once or twice. If that happens, Lavros will have to devise a way to take credit. Such subtle social maneuvers aren't his forte. Lavros finds himself wishing he'd personally taken command of the scout force, but the suspected mage and his rabble demonstrated surprising lethality in taking down a scorpion. The machines, though large and slow, pack a serious punch. Either the mage is lucky or he knows what he's doing. Luck or experience, Lavros doesn't know which is worse. His hand drifts down to his chin, giving a speculative scratch. His mouth returns to its toothy grin. Ha! He's more than happy to allow his lieutenant to take the risks. An unknown force with a dangerous leader. Good luck, Amagash, Lavros grumbles to himself. His voice sounds more genuine than he intends. Ahead is Sunken Crag. The dark canyon gapes beneath a green-tinted night sky. Shadows lay deep, covering much of the crag's interior. Down there, Scrabbers and Stellomal engage in endless struggles for dominance, preying one upon the other. The crag's depths, a deadly gladiatorial pit where winners eat the losers and grow strong. Filled with super predators, few who venture into Sunken Crag return alive. Lavros lifts his eyes to the great bridge, crossing a narrow portion of the crag. It spans 500 feet, buttressed with heavy stone and dark steel forged in the pits of Mechanum. This structure provides the best, easiest passage across Sunken Crag. Its battlements and 4 towers form a strong point, one needed to deter the crag's predators while defending Overseer's main approach. Occasionally, some of the more rational Stellomal or Scrabbers will emerge to trade with the devils of Overseer. For the most part, they come out only to raid, devour, and loot, as is the way of things in hell. Lavros's thoughts break as his vortex roars across the bridge apex. Spreading out to his left is the stinking, poisonous expanse of Knife Lake. To his right, the deadfalls and defiles of the Razor Hills. Lavros salutes the Crag bridge guard. Their captain does him the honor of arraying his 4 lances atop the towers, then tossing sulfur into the flames to light the fires green. Lavros grins in pleasure. Won his reputation. Commands. Its scorpions lumbering, its vortexes roaring, Lavros's force flows out onto the wisp fields beyond Sunken Crag. Up ahead, he can see some smoke plumes from Amagash's scout force through the darkness, and bobbing wisp lights. The mists from earlier are long since dispersed. His sensitive devil eyes drink up the night, providing clear sight and detail. Across the wisp fields, already miles ahead, Amagash's lance howls through the night. The rangy Amagash wears a black-dyed Mottle trench coat, a recent prize he had specially tailored to house rows of jet metal spikes in the arms near his shoulders and elbows. Metal plates within the coat clatter in the wind as his vortex tears up ground. At his shoulder, Corvus the Actina flies. The red serpent threads through air like living flame. We come near to the place, the Actina hisses. Amagash grunts his reply. They top a rise, then descend into a depression. The scorpion is plainly visible below. A burned-out hulk in a ring of black ash, hinting at a severe explosion. Lance pulls up to a scorpion. Amagash calls a halt. 10 devils grow quiet as they take in the destruction. A couple crack brash jokes, tossing a small skull back and forth as they banter. Amagash dismounts, motions to lull his second to accompany him. Then does a quick circuit of the wreck. As he reads the signs, Amagash begins to grin. Just a small group, he says to Lull and Corvus. Only 4 sets of tracks. 2 of them are flyers, though. He points up toward the hills. They looted the wreck, then headed off toward the land rise in that direction. Lull nods. I see the same. Though they hit that scorpion hard. Amagash scoffs. Moved well and were good hunters, I'll give 'em that. But they were lucky to take down that scorp. No need to report back. We can take them ourselves. He motions to Lull. Stay here with Jorlix. Investigate the wreckage. Let Lavras know we've headed into the hills. He motions toward the highland. Is it wise? Corvus hisses. We are already few. Amagash spins on the snake, watches it thread itself into uncomfortable knots, then gives a confident grin. It's just a ragtag little band, nothing we can't handle. Plus, I've got you for eyes and ears, right? He turns and looks out into the hills. They've probably gone to ground in some crack or crevice. Should be easy enough to smoke out. Corvus continues to spin it nervously. Amagash takes joy in the little snake's discomfort, then revs his vortex engine. Immolators! Onward! He shouts to the lance. They form up on him. With a roar, they head up the land rise and into the hills. I can hear the machine noise the moment we exit the cave. I look around. It's not a great position. We're in a canyon with only one visible escape. The Urdrakes, Plumacats, and Mottles all stare at me. A Plumacat blinks. I know the staring's an affirmation of my leadership. No pressure. I'm seriously freaking out. We've all been thrown into this weird must-survive relationship. It involves a lot of flash decision-making. I'm sure they're all not so happy putting their freaking fates in the hands of some 17-year-old brat kid. Sounds approaching fast from up the canyon. I don't have time to send any scout other than Omniscientia. Whatever's coming will be on us in about a minute. Okay, we gotta act fast. But not without info. Give me a second to look. I listen to the rising sound of approaching engines, then loft Omniscientia toward it. Dark, smoking lands expand beyond as the sensor rises, then shoots up the canyon. It scans left. Then I see them. 8 red devils riding fat, single-wheeled vehicles, sprouting pipes, belching long tails of smoke, and tearing the ground with wicked spikes. Their leader is a tall, thin devil wearing a cloak crafted out of Mottle skin. This pisses me off. I like Mottle skin on a living Mottle, not for some devil's sicko trophy. All devils are heavily armed, bristling with rifles, pistols, and various melee weapons. Omniscientia ripples with magical detection. Ahead and above the devils, a red thread flies. Must be an ectina, one of the devil snakes Theri and Zell warned about. There are 8 devils on weird bikes and an ectina, I shout as I shift focus away from Omniscientia. Ambush. We'll ambush them. Mottles, up on the canyon wall. Plumacats and Urdrakes, hide behind those boulders. Now! I spin on Zaya. She's just started to emerge into the canyon. Back in the cave. You're too important to risk. She gives me a huffy look, then fades back. She's the only one able to give wisps form. I'm the only one who can help her, but I gotta lead this frackin' fight. I don't have time to argue. I'm glad she listens. I spin toward Mottle, Theri, and Zell. You guys, follow me. Mottle, I need you. I storm off toward the canyon center. Mottle lands on my shoulders. His contact momentarily causes my senses to blur. He bites me, doing the weird reverse vampire thing. He injects food and vitality into my neck veins. I immediately feel better as coolness and a rush of energy spreads through me. His form supports my body. My steps elongate into bounds. Theri and Zell run up beside me. All around, Plumacats are crouching. Mottles are hanging on the canyon wall, blending in with the rocks. Urdrakes are pulling legs, arms, heads, and tails into their shells, plunking down among the boulders. Once withdrawn into their shells, they look like a bunch of spiky rocks. This might just work. I lead Theri and Zell past our new force of rebels in hell. Reaching the canyon center, I turn and begin to gather my curse energy. Those devils are heavily armed. I shout to all in the canyon, they've got that advantage. If they investigate the scorpion, they probably only expect us. I point at myself, Theri, Zell, and Mottle. We'll be bait. Zell and Theri give me a look that basically says, what the fuck? I ignore them and continue. Let's make a show. We'll give them what they expect to see. Then, when they get in among the Urdrakes, Mottles, and Plumacats, we all pounce. Got it? There are yowls, growls, and shuffles of affirmation. Good. I turn to Theri and Zell. No fireball rounds except for the ectina. You can blast that flying snake to hell all you want. I point into the air. Our friends on the ground are too close together. I wave them toward my back as I face the canyon. Now, get behind me. Be ready. The sound of diabolical engines growls in my ears. I don't need Omniscientia to see the fire snake now. I lift my hand, tap my energetic vessel. It is full just 2 hours after emptying to help Zaya shape the Urdrakes, Plumacats, and Mottles. Sparks fall from my name curse, lighting up the whirls of my magical tattoo, casting deep shadows around us. Lunin, Svert, Umbra! I shout. The sound echoes through the canyon as my moon shadow blade forms in my hand. I'm kicking extra energy into it. I've got loads to spare. The effect is one of blacker than black shadow, piercing silver moonlight spilling around me, and a loud sound like tearing as the blade's magical substance hungrily devours hell's caustic air. I lift this sliver of destruction up and behind me. Then I hold my left hand in front, readying a spell for the devil's attack. Both Theri and Zell are grinning despite themselves. They have their rifles out, loaded, barrels poised. I admit, I feel pretty damn badass. We're all gathered, ready. The devils on their weird spiked wheel unicycles turn round and bend into the canyon. Spray of pollution and crud kicked up from behind trails behind their fat, mean-looking vehicles. At last visible to my naked sight, their leader points his gun at me, his devil's eyes alight with hunger. He's perceived my magic, his deep red skin a sign of devil nobility. Not a hell lord, but the kind sensitive to curse magic. Not like he fucking needs it. I'm making quite a show with sparks spewing out of my name curse, flying everywhere. Moonlight glows surrounding me, a blade of freaking black moon shadow held aloft in my hand. The devil's eyes all lock on me as they rush forward. The mage is mine to capture. Slay the rest, the leader shouts in Minosian to his companions. They fan out, gunning their engines, aiming their vehicles like lethal missiles toward me, Theri, Mottle, and Zell. The leader and two devils, one on each far end of the formation, lift their guns. Clypeus! I shout, bleeding another large plug of energy from my swelling vessel into the protection curse. Sparks fly from me, converging to form a spectral shield of white like the unfolded petals of a flower in front of me. 3 guns report, hell bullets shoot out. Their trace lines speed toward Theri and Zell. They explode against my shield, then ricochet off in streaks of molten lead. Mottle quivers in rage. He's finally noticed the leader's coat. I lift my moonshadow blade. The devils approach the ambush point. More bullets impact against my shield. The devil's leader is taken in by battle rage. Little mage, your wisp is forfeit. My mistress. He never finishes. Now, I shout to my companions, then fling my cursed sword. It flips end over end, cutting the air like a roaring scythe. It tilts, spins to the side, then shears directly through the devil's leg, and his weird unicycle in one go. Damaged and deformed, the machine tumbles, rider flying headlong through the air to land with a crunch 20 feet from me. One of his horns breaks off from the impact. His body lurches, then quivers. Zell and Theri emerge from behind me. Zell raises his rifle, Theri follows. Both shoot fireball rounds into the sky. The red streaks rise to meet the flying serpent. It seems to waver, then is engulfed. The ball burns like a brilliant sun, illuminating the battle below. Urdrakes spring up from the shadows like so many monsters, their heavy hands, snouts, tails lash out. They come away with arms, chunks of metal, spines. Those further off from the fray angle their shells toward the riders. Light ripples up their spines, collecting in the crystals near the Urdrakes' heads. It shoots out like freaking laser beams. 3 converge on one rider. The devil is lopped into 3 pieces as his cycle careens off, hits a boulder, and explodes. Plumacats pounce. Some fly on the wings of Mottles. 2 more devils are ripped from their seats by slashing claws and fangs. I reform my moonshadow blade in my hand. By the time its shadow and light touches me, the Mottles are swooping down. There are only 2 bikers left. They're engulfed. Their bones crunch as the Mottles use their muscular forms to crush them. Ouch. Before I can move, Mottle is flying off my back. He covers the distance between us and the prone leader in one leap. That guy is seriously fucked up. Blood gushes out of his leg stump as he struggles to grasp one of his many weapons. No luck for him. Mottle takes him in one swoop, rolls up his body like some wicked bat candy wrapper, gives him a nasty squeeze, then pushes out pulpy and shattered remains. It all happened in maybe 20 seconds. Holy shit, we won. The words form in my mind first. Then I shout them out in exhilaration. We won! We fucking won! My cry is infectious. Plumacats yowl. Urdrakes roar. Mottles flap. Theri and Zell join in the cheer. Zaya bursts out at last to sing her own celebration. Yeah, we just won another freaking battle. Holy shit, do I feel lucky. But this lethal dance with the devils of Overseer Tower has only just begun. And that concludes my reading of Helkey 29 for you. The first Battle of Sunken Crag story in a number that are on the way. A Devil's Dance. Now, for our next stream, we are presently scheduled to have a Battlestorm online adventure Thursday night. This will depend on how well our Dungeon Master Ted is feeling, so please join with me in hoping that Ted feels better. Over at the blog at scribblersfantasticalworkshop.wordpress.com, I will be publishing Helkey 34, the Battle of Sunken Crag. I believe I'm going to call it Brightest Light Blackest Pit. Something like that. I haven't yet figured out what the name of the title is going to be, but I have finished writing the draft version. It just needs an edit and some good map art for you, and it will be publishing on my blog. So if you're a reader type rather than a listener type, check it out at scribblersfantasticalworkshop.wordpress.com. I'll thank you all. Love you all. And good night.